Hannes Namberger, welcome to the podcast. It's nice to see you.
Thanks, Dylan. Nice to see you too. Hello.
Yeah, I'm very excited to chat. I have only been following you for a short time, but you had an incredible 2022 season. And many people who I've spoken to, especially on the European circuit, believe that that's just the beginning for you, that you are going to be a dominant force on the scene for years to come. So, no pressure, but welcome to the show. It's great. I wanted to start by, just letting you introduce yourself to the audience. Obviously, you might be a newer name, especially to American listeners, but you're a German athlete. So maybe start with, where you're broadcasting from and tell people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hello. I'm Hannes Namberger. I'm 32 years old and I'm from Germany, from the south part. So I live direct in the beginning of the Alps, so close to Austria. My beginning I began sport as a small child with alpine skiing. It was always a dream for me to be a professional skier, like for example Ted Ligety.
Yep.
And then I quit my career with 21 years, and that was a hard decision for me. But I found the love in trail running with 27 years roundabout. Yeah. And then this love is, it was a big love between mountain and running. And now I'm here and yeah.
You're here, man. You have announced your presence in the trail and ultra world, especially this season. And I want to talk about your ski career because I think it's interesting. But first, just to get a better idea of where you're from, you said the south of Germany. Does that mean you're close to Garmisch and the Zugspitze?
No, it's close to Salzburg.
Oh,
Yeah.
such a beautiful area.
Perfect. Yeah. The closest trail running event is the Mozart 100.
Such a beautiful place. My wife and I actually went to Bavaria, that
Yeah.
region, for the Zugspitze Ultra Trail a couple of years ago in 2019. And we were blown away. I mean, the town of Garmisch was beyond our expectations just in terms of how beautiful it was, the trail access. The race itself was incredible, even though it was shortened that year due to weather. But we spent some time, sort of in Austria and Innsbruck, went to Vienna, and it's such a beautiful area. So I just wanted to paint the picture for our audience about, because when most people think about Germany, they don't necessarily think about, the Bavarian Alps, but it seems like a perfect place, especially as somebody who started his athletic career as a downhill skier and is now a mountain runner. It's sort of a mountain paradise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's perfect for all sports. You can go skiing in the winter. You can go biking. You can have really difficult mountains. You can have the easier one, and the mix between all these sports is perfect for everybody. If you start with trail running, you have smooth, easy gravel roads, or you can have really technical sky running parts. So what you want, you will find it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would encourage our listeners to check it out, and especially that Zugspitze Ultra Trail. I don't know if you've done it, and the Mozart. I actually ran on the Mozart course when we were there, just in a little bit of training, and it's just so beautiful. It's such a beautiful place. So I would encourage our listeners to check those out. The Mozart race now is on the UTMB World Series, and I know Zugspitze is one of the most important races for the German trail running community. But let's talk about ski racing because I think this is a really fascinating part of your story and something I resonate with as somebody who came into the sport of running later in life, who was interested in other sports growing up. Talk about your experience as a downhill ski racer. Obviously, there's a lot of different disciplines within ski racing. So, where did you specialize?
My discipline was slalom and giant slalom, so the technical parts of skiing. Downhill skiing only for the training. Um, yeah, I was a good skier until 19 years old. I was in the national team of Germany. I was I would say my goal was always to be in the World Cup. That was always the big dream to ski with the best skier in the world. But then I had a bad injury with my knee and 2 operations, and then everybody knows, yeah, it's difficult to come back because if you want to come back, and you have to be better than the years before. And for me, it was impossible. I was not skiing over 1 year, and then I tried it, but yeah, I have to say, my performance is not as before the operation. Then yeah, it was a difficult decision. It was very hard for me because
was it a physical thing? Because I know with ski racing and the crashing, you have to have confidence in your body, and especially you have to have confidence at those high speeds that you're not going to fall effectively, because those falls can have just massive physical consequences. Was it a physical insufficiency that you perceived in your knee, or was it a mental thing in your confidence?
Yeah, it was more physical because my stronger leg was after the injury the right one, and then you always have to be very careful with your injured knee, and it's not possible. You have to make every turn with the highest quality, especially if you ski on ice. Then you need strong legs. You need a body what is really well prepared for the hard conditions. And yeah, then it was the end for me. Yeah. I had always pain. So
was it a painful thing emotionally, spiritually, as somebody who had the dreams of competing on the World Cup? You were probably inspired by, wasn't Hermann Maier the iconic German skier?
No, Hermann Maier is Austrian.
He's Austrian.
He's Austrian. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it was very difficult because it was not my decision.
Yeah.
You have no how should I say, the national team said, okay, you're not in the team. If you wanna ski again, then you have to do it on your own way. And without a team in alpine skiing, it's very difficult. It's very expensive. And then I have to say, no, that's impossible for me. Mm-hmm. But it was after a half year, it was also okay. I found a new way in backcountry skiing, in jumping, go in the park, only having fun on skis. That was the new way for me after alpine skiing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you do a bit of terrain park, like aerial stuff now too?
And now not, because
now?
now it's too risky for me with injuries. But after this, I learned how to do backflip, how to make cool 360s, especially for the backcountry skiing. And it was really cool. I went with friends to Japan for cool ski trips, to Switzerland, to Italy. I had fun. Also, how should I say, with parties, and I did all these things.
That's an intimate part of the ski culture, is the party.
Yeah. I had to, or I did everything what I cannot do if you are a professional.
Yeah. Do you still feel the effects of the ski injuries? I know I just mentioned that obviously those falls and the ski injuries can have just massive physical consequences. I actually know Alex McGuinness, who was on the US ski mountaineering, downhill skiing team, a multi-time Olympian. And she had a couple of crashes that had 18-month recovery periods. And, then she's healthy for like 9 months and then is out for another 18. And it just feels like, aside from the physical component, that mentally it's incredibly exhausting. Her husband actually is a friend of mine too. He had compartment syndrome as a ski racer. He has a scar from his hip to his knee. And it's just like, I feel like your body it only holds up for so long in that sport. Do you feel the effects of your knee injury anymore, or now that you've sort of changed the direction of your skiing life and also become a great runner, is your knee as strong as ever now?
Now I have no pain on this knee. I know only that I had the operation, but I forgot this part, what happened, or I forgot the pain what I had, and I canceled it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And then the good thing is that I found the love in running and to be in the mountains, not only with chairlifts. So I found to be in the mountains, only for me. And then, it helped me a lot to forget this painful days or these painful years.
Good.
Because with this knee and with these knee injuries, I couldn't walk the stairs. It was so painful. I couldn't sleep in the night. Yeah, and you think every second on this pain. And the love to the mountains and to the new sport, and it helped me a lot.
Yeah. Well, not that any injury is insignificant, but for runners, you have like a strained calf or a little bit of tendonitis. It's totally different from multiple knee surgeries and broken femurs and things like that ski racers have to deal with. So I think you found a great sport for yourself. I'm curious, as you talk about training, how that part of your life as an aspiring sort of professional downhill skier has influenced your training now, aside from, teaching you the discipline of hard work. Is there anything else that you apply to your running now that's carried over from your ski career?
The disciplines what I trained as a skier helped me a lot, especially the balance, the coordination, the power in my legs, and especially to run downhills if it's very technical, to see every stone, to be in balance. And I had, as a skier, very good upper body. So this part helped me so much until now. I don't have to make strain, how should I say, for the upper body power workout. So
you don't have to lift weights for your upper body, is what you're saying. Yeah.
And especially in skiing, you have only 45, 60 seconds to perform. And on this second, on your race, you have to be very concentrated. You have to be focused. And then if you go out of the start gate, then you have to be aggressive. You have to be focused, concentrated, and then you must perform. And you have only this one chance. And this helped me a lot for trail running.
Wow. Interesting. So it's more of a psychological advantage maybe that it's provided in your trail running career. But I love that idea of the focus and concentration, but also the skill on the downhill. And everybody knows, like in skiing, you have to keep your weight downhill and you have to use your eyes in order to really guide your turns and use your instincts a little bit more. And it's kind of true also with descending in trail running and navigating technical descents. So,
yeah, exactly. The downhills, to run downhills, if it's technical, then skiing is not the same, but it's similar. So and this helped me a lot. But to run is the most extreme different sport to skiing, but because especially the weight what I had as a skier, it was 20 kg more than now. And
you were much heavier as a skier.
Yeah, much heavier.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of muscles, and for me it was not possible to run as a skier because the legs they were too thick. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Really.
So
Yeah. Only
your
on the
whole body
bicycle.
has changed in
Yeah.
addition to the competitive context. So interesting. And obviously, for those of us who follow you on Instagram now, it's clear that you still spend a lot of time on skis. You mentioned that earlier that you sort of found backcountry skiing and playing around in the terrain park after you gave up on the downhill skiing career. But now it seems like you spend all of your summer months training as a ski mountaineering athlete. And we've had sort of a running conversation on the show this winter with people talking about how valuable that is for trail running. So maybe provide your content or your perspective on ski mountaineering and how it's helped you to enhance your capabilities as a trail runner.
Yeah. Ski mountaineering helped me. Not really. It's a different sport. It's only for a ski mountaineer. I can ski faster in the downhill,
Yeah.
but skimo is perfect for me to save my knees, to save my whole body, that I don't have to run the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And I like it to be on the skis, on alpine skis and on ski mountaineering skis. So to train on the uphills. It's like Francois said in the podcast before. He don't want to run the whole year, and that's the same for me. And in the winter, I have no chance to run the trails at home because we have too much snow. So that's only a good second sport or alternative sport for me.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
all. Yeah.
So are you doing any competitions in the winter months? Obviously, like Francois right now is doing Pyramenta, so is Kilian Jornet. Are you competing in ski mountaineering races, or is it mostly just for training and exercise?
It's mostly for the training. I want to do it sometimes, but now I'm focused more on trail running races. That's my focus, and I want to compete and I want to show my best performance on trail races.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about it. But first,
Yeah.
I want to correct myself because in a recent podcast conversation with Cam Smith, we were talking about the ski mountaineering scene in Europe, and I mistakenly said that you had sort of like a military background. And I received a number of messages afterwards saying, no, he doesn't. He's actually a police officer in Germany.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, before we go on to trail running, talk a little bit about your profession outside of running as a police officer. I'd love to sort of get a bigger picture of what your day to day looks like, what your responsibilities are.
Yeah, I as an alpine skier, you have the choice to go to the military or to the police. And I went to the police because it's a safe job. You can make both. You can make the police graduation and be safe for the time after the sport. And yeah, I said, okay, I want to make this. And then after the ski career, you can make the police job. And I said, yeah, okay, it's not far away from my hometown. It's okay. You earn a good money and it's a safe job. Yeah. And then I went, or I was better in trail running, and yeah, but it's not Olympic. That's the problem. And so I have to make both. I have to make the police job, and I have to make my professional trail running career.
Yeah. Well, in our conversation with Francois, we talked about this at length also about it sometimes being a benefit to have the balance of a day job in addition to being a professional athlete. Do you find that you have to sacrifice training with your day job as a police officer, or does it provide a balancing influence into your life?
It's the balance in my life. Yeah, for sure. If I would be a full-time professional athlete, then I would maybe destroy myself because I would train too much. And this give me a little bit work for my brain. So the mental part is training a little bit more. And yeah, you think not always on the sports part. You have conversations with people, they don't know what is trail running. In Germany, trail running is not the famous sport. It's only football, and then it's nothing. So yeah, it gives me a good balance in my life. Yeah. And especially the time what you have for training, that's only quality time. You don't go out and say, no, today is not good. You don't say this. You go out, you are happy, you want to go run, you want to go train, and the time what you have for training, that's the best time, because you have not the full day for training. You cannot stand up and say, oh, okay, maybe 1 hour later. No, you have your day plan is maximum full. So especially, I have no kids like Francois, so I have a little bit more comfort. But I never go out and have a half training day. So it's always the maximum what is in my training plan. So and it's good.
Yeah, it is good. And obviously it has worked for you. And as I mentioned at the beginning of our podcast, as we start to transition towards your running career now, this year was a huge breakthrough for you, man. I mean, I had never heard your name until this year. And I think a lot of people were introduced to you for the first time on the international circuit with some of your incredible performances at some of the biggest races in the world this year. Earlier in your career, you were focusing mostly on the shorter distance, sort of sky running stuff. And it seemed like this year was your first foray into the ultra trails, Lavaredo, UTMB, Madeira. Did you find that maybe it was your personal strengths or your personal physiology? Maybe that was more suited to the longer course stuff? Or is there anything else that you think that led to this massive step forward that you took in your running career this year?
Now I can say the 100K races are perfect for my running style. I found that I can run the more runnable races like Lavaredo, and then at the end on Madeira, I choose this race because it's more technical. It's only stairs up and down. It's horrible at the beginning, but this gave me safety for myself, that I can compete with good runners, or with the best runners in the world on the 100K distance. The 100-mile distance, especially UTMB, it was a big experience for me. I have to learn a lot for the next few years, because I want to be there for the next few years on UTMB, or maybe for the US 100-mile race. Yeah, and then, but I think it's my distance, and I have to learn. I have to prepare myself better, and then I will see what happened in the next few years.
Yeah. Well, we can't wait to see. And I think we should talk about all three of those races this year: Lavaredo, UTMB, and Madeira, because they're all worthy of conversation in their own way. You said in an interview with I Run Far that you had been focused on Lavaredo for a long time, that you were mentally very motivated and engaged to put out your best performance at that particular race, and it had been a goal for a long time. Talk about the mind space you were in leading into UTMB, and anything that you did that maybe helped you to cultivate that mind space or cultivate that focus and determination.
Yeah, if I choose one race, then for example the Lavaredo, I prepared my mind 4 months before the race. I think every day on this race, and I know everything about the years before. What is the best time? Who who had the record, what is the most technical part, where is the runnable part, nutrition. I have always the perfect plan for myself for every race where I start. And on Lavaredo, I was very focused because I know that what I have to do. I start now, or since this year, very very slowly. I be always on position 10, 20, and then okay, now after 20 kilometers I'm warmer, and then okay, the race can be started, and that's my plan. And if I be always in my race, I don't look to the other guys, because the most people they explode after the halfway, and that's not my way. I know that I will be very strong at the end. And and then ultra running is more a mental game, and that's exactly what I want. It's not who is the best athlete, who has the best legs. You have to be very prepared in your mind, and that's something what I learned in the past years.
Yeah. And Germans are known for being strong-willed and strong-minded people, and so it's not unusual for you to carry that. As you talk about not only your mental preparation and the mental strength that it takes to perform at the highest level, you also mentioned having a plan. I'm curious, like, how granular you get with your planning. As you mentioned that you had been thinking about Lavaredo for 4 months, and you're thinking about what the strategy is. How do you practically try to implement those plans? Do you write things down? You memorize splits? Are you training based on intensity and heart rate? What are you trying to do to execute against that plan?
I have no splits for the race, because it gives you not a good feeling if you are too late on special points. But I calculate myself with the heart rate, so I use always my watch to pace me, that I have my limit, my heart rate limit, and I don't go over the limit. Never.
Wow.
Because,
how
for
do you
example,
calculate that heart rate? Is it based on threshold? Is it based on VO2
threshold?
max?
My trainer say always what is the maximum for this race, and then that's the maximum, and I don't go over. For example, UTMB, I wasn't in the baddest shape ever, and everybody was, I feel, sprinting away at the beginning, and I was the only guy who was walking on a flat part, because the heart rate was too much.
Really? Wow.
Really, yeah.
And are you wearing a heart rate monitor on your chest?
Yeah, always.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in the
and
training and in the race.
on your watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. It was too much. It was 10 beats over the limit, because I had no good day on. Then I said, okay, walk a little bit, relax, breathe, and everybody was passing me, and
well, I asked the question because, again, you and I don't know each other well personally, but I follow you on Instagram, and you strike me as somebody who takes a very professional approach. And when you mentioned that in your interview with I Run Far about thinking about it for months and being totally focused, and then mentioning that you had a plan, I wanted to get a little bit more insight into what you meant by that and how specific you get with the training and race execution, because it worked so well. Clearly, you broke the course record at Lavaredo, which, may have been surprising for you. I don't know. I'd love to get your insight. Obviously, many great athletes have raced there on the American side. Some of our icons, Tim Tollefson, Hayden Hawks, Anton Krupicka, have all won the race. I think Hayden Hawks had the course record. Did breaking the course record at Lavaredo, an iconic European race, change your idea of what you are capable of in the sport, or was it surprising to you?
It was surprising for me. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I before the race, I was sure that I have a good shape. I was on the track the weeks before, so I did know where can I push, where's the lab station, the nutrition, what should I eat. I had the perfect plan for this race, but at the end I had the second guy, it was from Spain, Andreu Emmerich Simon. He pushed me very hard, but then he's a diabetic, type 1, I think, and he had a bad moment, especially on the last 10K. And yeah, we had a really hard battle between us, and he had a bad moment, and for me, the feeling was I have to sprint away. I have to sprint, and he is coming closer. He's coming closer. I pushed more and more and more and more, and that's why I get the course record at the end.
And he was under the course record too.
Simon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you guys had an amazing race, and sometimes it takes that competitor breathing down your neck in order to push you to your absolute limit.
Yeah,
and I'm sure
exactly. That was the feeling.
The best out of him too. So
yeah. And in Cortina, in the city, in the village, at this moment I was sure, okay, now I will win this race. But the 10Ks before the finish line, I had always the feeling he's in my neck. He will push me. Okay, Hannes, push forward. You want to win. Let's go. And I was more than over the limit. So yeah.
Well, I've heard he's also a great rising young star in the sport also. I think he's a Spaniard, is that right?
Yeah, from in the Spanish from Girona.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, Barcelona.
Too. But yeah, you guys had an incredible race, and you coming out on top. I think that was the first time that your name really came onto my radar, but then it wasn't until UTMB. I remember I was actually doing the English commentary as I was sort of watching the race, and I followed you on Instagram while I was like sitting there doing the commentary. And I've been following you and very impressed by you ever since. And I actually came out of the booth and saw you running through Chamonix to the finish line because I was going out to see Courtney Dewalter, who finished just
I can remember on the place where you've been.
Yeah.
And it was a proud moment for me that you were cheering for me. I saw you on my left side, and whoa, that's Dylan, and he's cheering for me. That's cool. Okay. Yeah.
Well, cool. You were very worthy of cheering for. Let's talk about UTMB because, obviously it wasn't perfect. Like it sounds like Lavaredo was, but it was your first 100-miler. And I'm sure you gained a lot of learning and insights into UTMB. You've already said that you want to return there many times in your career. You finished 6th place. I know, obviously, like I said, you don't consider it a perfect performance, but what did you learn from UTMB? What were some of the highlights from that race? What are the best and worst memories, and how do you hope to improve?
The worst memories was especially the start. The first 45 Ks, it was not my day. But I said to myself, okay, it will be a long day. Be relaxed, do what you can, and then you will, at the end, you will have a great day. I was always safe that I can reach the finish line, but you have to fight for this. And after 80K, okay, I feel better. And it was only the halfway of the race, and I lost all or the most of the time to Francois at the beginning of the race because, sometimes you have bad days, sometimes you have good days. Okay, that's that's the sport. But then the second half of the race, I run my own race, and that was very important for me, because at the beginning I was very scared about this huge distance. I was really scared the days before. I was very nervous, and yeah, on Champellac, it's only 45K to the finish line. I was very destroyed, but I said, okay,
it's
okay.
a hard 45 Ks to the finish line.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to Champellac and is like, oh no.
Yeah. On Champellac, you count only the uphills. Okay. Yeah. So only 3 big uphills. Okay. You have to think step by step. Okay. 1 uphill. Okay. Done. Then you see your team again. You get your nutrition. Okay. Yeah. So only 2 uphills. Come on, fight. And then, then I had, I was on this place, I was on 6th position, but then Courtney comes always close and close. And that was mentally really not easy, because he was so fresh. She was running every uphill, and this moment destroyed me, really.
Yeah.
It was incredible for me.
Yeah. And you talked about it, I think, at the finish line at UTMB. Yeah. And you have a very unique perspective on this, because that was one of the best performances ever in our sport with Courtney Dewalter. And as you mentioned, she was sort of catching up to you and pushing you to the finish line. I mean, I talk about that a little bit, because obviously she is world class, one of the best to ever do it. And I wondered, as somebody who, in your position, you're doing your first 100 miler, maybe you were able to observe her skills or her strategy. Was there anything from that experience of being chased by Courtney Dewalter that maybe you hope to apply to your own competitive events in the future?
Yeah. It was very difficult for me. I said to myself, okay, now you have a really good position. You're now on 6th, but then if you see Courtney, she was running all uphills. It was more than 30 degrees steep, and it was impossible for me. How is this? Yeah, how can you run after such a long distance? And this moment pushed me a little bit more than normally. I went out of my comfort zone, and I want to be with Courtney.
Yeah.
And I said to Courtney, you are so crazy. And she was only talking to me. You're doing such a nice job. Let's go, Hannes. Come on, run. Let's run together. And I said, no, you're too fast. I'm done, and you run here. No, okay, yeah. And the gap between us went always bigger and bigger. But on the last uphill, it was a little bit more technical, and it was a bit too much for her. And I had maybe better legs in the technical part, and then I closed the gap, and we had a good 10 minutes run together. Yeah. And on the last descent, I passed her, and that was a cool moment for me. And because so cool. She was always my follower. And then I had the same feeling with the Spanish guy Andreu in Lavaredo. She was always in my neck, but it was cool for me, but she pushed me really hard. Yeah. But her performance on this day, it was incredible. But for me, it was cool because I could see the most of her race live, and not on the television. I was live in the game.
A seat to one of the best performances ever. Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you for that description. I think people are going to really love that. I mean, especially your your illustration of Courtney's amazing personality, where you tell her that she's crazy for running the uphills and she responds something like, "You're doing a great job." So shout out to Courtney Dewalter. She was just doing the Barkley Marathon here in the US this week. Unfortunately, wasn't able to finish there, but always makes us American trail runners really proud. I'm curious to get your opinion on the Lavaredo and UTMB double, because obviously you won Lavaredo, broke the course record, struggled a little bit at UTMB, still had a good performance, but struggled a little bit. Do you think that those two races are maybe too close together to perform at your best at both? Did you feel any residual fatigue? No,
they are not close together. I had 1 month before UTMB a race in Austria. It was a 58K. Großglockner. It's on the highest peak in Austria, and this race was the wrong decision for me because of the Lavaredo 4 or 5 weeks break, then the next race, and then Großglockner, and then UTMB, and it was too much. I was not fully recovered on UTMB, and it was the wrong decision before, but I have to learn.
Great learning.
Yeah, great learning. Yeah.
So you feel that if you would have done Lavaredo, recovered, not done this race in Austria, that maybe you would have shown up at UTMB a little bit more fresh?
Yes, and 3 weeks before UTMB, I was ill for 1 week, and then I had not the same performance, the same shape before Lavaredo. But that's the game. I have to learn for the future, for the next years, and next year I don't will make this mistake. So.
Well, we'll talk about your schedule, your calendar for the year near the end of the conversation. But before we get there, I obviously want to talk about Madeira, where you closed your season with another really strong victory at one of the most important races in the world, the Madeira Island Ultra. You won by 40 minutes in another really strong field. A great way to end this awesome season that you had. Talk about the Madeira race. What are some of the highlights from that?
Yeah, Madeira is a very difficult race. I will say you will do it only one times in your life, because at the beginning it's only uphill and downhill. It's very slippery at the beginning, then only stairs and never-ending stairs.
Yeah.
You will make 7,000 vertical meters in 80K, and that's not normal.
Yeah.
So you need really a good pole technique and strong legs. And then after this 80K, you run a marathon through the jungle. That's Madeira. And
that last marathon is much faster, right? Because the last, whatever it is, 35 kilometers is off the top of the island down to the coast. And it seems like that's the fast terrain of the race.
That's the fast terrain, but it's very slippery. It's sometimes wet. Sometimes it's muddy. So you have all terrain on this course, and it will destroy you if you are not in good shape. And I know before the race, it's very risky to have a good body, very prepared, fully recovered from UTMB, but I want this competition with myself. I want to show myself that I can do this too, not only the runnable races. And I prepared myself especially for this race over 2 months, and that was the right decision. Not always doing races. So prepare yourself for this one chance. And I was on the start line, and I said, okay, you have it, you can do it, and be in your race plan, do what you did the last races, and then you will have a good day.
Yeah.
And normally I start very slow, but the group was not fast. Or for me, the feeling was okay. I was always in my comfort zone. And then I tried something new with the nutrition, with the carbs. And yeah, I had a really beautiful day on Madeira. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned in your I Run Far interview that you wanted to control the pace of the race from the beginning. And you just alluded to the fact that typically you like to start a little bit further behind and work your way through the field. It struck me as an interesting thing for you to say. And I think maybe our listeners would love to hear a little bit more about that psychological strategy. In what ways were you trying to control the race? And can you be more specific about what that meant for you in your race strategy?
Yeah. For example, the first 10K, everybody want to be in the leading group. And I don't care about this because I don't speak with the other guys. I be in my own bubble. And I have my headlamp and I look sometimes to my watch to control my heart rate. And I don't care what is the other guys doing. I take the first gel after 30 minutes, drink a lot. I try to save energy.
Uh,
And I don't care who is the first one. If he's in front of me 4 minutes, 5 minutes, then I don't care because I know the race will be long.
mm,
And then if you are warmer, then you can push a little bit more. Then you test your legs in the downhills, and then I pass one guy, then to the other, and it makes so much fun to go more to the first position, and that's the best feeling ever.
it is.
If
Yeah.
you start very slow, very very aggressive, um, sometimes I have to say the US guy did this style.
Yeah.
It sometimes it could be good, but if you get passed by the second, the third, then it's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
And I try to do the different. I start slow and then I move to the leading group or to the leader. And then after 45K, 50K, I would say the race can start. And then it's racing.
Yeah.
And then you have to push, and then you have to try to make a gap to the followers. And that's my type of racing. Yeah.
Mhm. Man, well said and great execution. And I similarly feel this. I race in a similar style, usually, sort of at least close enough in contact that I could be on the podium or win, but never at the front. And I always like am fascinated by the types of runners like Francois and Jim Walmsley who have the confidence to just be at the front the whole time. Because for me, psychologically, it would be a burden. It would be hard to be constantly worried about how close are they behind me. I would much rather be the one who's gaining ground and getting closer over the course of the distance of the
Exactly.
race. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well said and well executed. And congratulations, man. Lavaredo win and course record, a sixth place at UTMB in your first 100-miler, and then finishing the year with another dominant 40-minute win at Madeira. It's an incredible season for you. And I want to hear about what you have coming up in 2022. But first, I want to talk about, it seems like you switched coaches recently. And I think this is maybe another interesting thing to talk about. I think our listeners would love to hear your perspective or just the thought process behind aligning yourself with the right guidance and leadership in your running career. So talk about the change in coaches, because obviously you're just coming off a great season where it seems like you were having a lot of success. What did you see that you needed to improve, and how is your new coach going to help you with that?
It's not my decision that I had to change the coaches, because my coach, he had a company and he quit his job. He said, okay, it's too much work and I don't save money.
Yeah.
And then he said, the past years it was too much stress, and I give this this company to the other guys. And my trainer now, he was always in the company, so he make the same and has the same signature than the coach before. So it's the same company, but only the name is different. But the type of coaching is perfect for me. It's always with Training Peaks. It's always with Stride on the shoe, and always based on the heart rate. And this helps me so much. It's very controlled, and yeah, this made me to a better runner, because the years before I went out of the door and I was only running fast, slow. I had no idea what should I do, and this gave me the next step to a better trail runner.
Are you somebody who really likes to analyze data? You talked about your heart rate, you talked about Training Peaks, you talked about the Stride monitor, which for our listeners measures power output effectively. And this is somewhere where we're probably very different, because I'm somebody who doesn't like numbers. I don't like the data. I always go by feel. Talk about that, how you think about data and how you apply it to your training, because it sounds like it's something that's really important to you.
We are not different, because we are similar. I make only the data, and I give this to my trainer, and he has to deal with the data, because I don't care about this. I have no time to check my data, what I did before. He has to deal with them, and then he say, okay, we have to do more intervals, we have to more easy runs, we have to more long runs. He decide what I have to do, and I go out and do what he said to me. This helped me only to pace myself. And for the races, it's very important that I have the heart rate. But at home, I put my watch on the computer, and then he can look all the details what I have done, and I lean back and do my stretching. I'm not the computer nerd.
Cool. Yeah. Well, it's great. Yeah. Marrying the different skill sets and the different strengths and weaknesses. I'm the same way. I guess my coach is more of a numbers guy. He's more of a metrics guy, and he gets to carry that burden for me. And I can just worry about how I feel and lean back and do my stretching, as you described.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk about your calendar for 2022. I'd love to hear what your goals are for the season. I know you're mostly training on skis right now, but what are your goals in terms of your trail running season?
In exactly 5.5 weeks, I will start in Peñagolosa Trail in Spain. It's a 100K race. It's very runnable, and I decide for the next season I will do more the runnable races to be perfect prepared for UTMB, for the main goal. But in between, I will do the Mozart 100, because it's only 30 minutes away from my hometown. So Mozart, it will be the second race, and then the main goal, UTMB, on the on the most competitive start field.
Awesome. Well, great season.
And maybe in the end, Thailand for the World Championship.
Yeah. Oh, but cool. Representing Germany.
Represent Germany, but Thailand is not the typical trail running area. I was there for 3 or 4 times, and I couldn't run there because it was too hot.
Too hot and humid.
Yeah, impossible to run there. But I want to have this challenge.
Yeah.
But it will be my plus for the season. So main goal
Awesome.
UTMB. Yeah.
Yeah, good calendar. I was actually looking at Mozart myself this week, and unfortunately I can't make it because it's too close to Western States and Broken Arrow, where I have media and commentary obligations already. So I would love to get there and do that race eventually, because like I said, I trained on those trails of the Mozart 100 in Austria, and it's so beautiful. It's such an incredible place. So, well, yeah, I'm curious, as you mentioned the World Championship and representing Germany, I think it would be fun to just kind of like talk about the trail running culture and the growth of the sport in your home country. Obviously, I'm somebody who follows triathlon pretty seriously, and there's so many great German champions in triathlon. I'm curious if you're seeing similar momentum building in trail running, or if you could provide any perspective on what the current state of the sport is there in your home country.
Yeah. Trail running is growing. All the people from Germany, from the north part, normally they run marathons, but now it's a hype to be more in the mountains, and everybody wanna be in the holidays in the mountains and wanna run. And our races are fully booked all the time, and the sport is growing. And I have the good position that I can represent my sport in Germany. But if I go to Austria or to Italy, the sport is so much more famous than in Germany. But it will come that Germany will be in the future for more famous for trail running.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes like in triathlon, like we have the best triathlon man is Jan Frodeno, and everybody knows him. So
Patrick Long won the world championship a couple times. So yeah, well, again, hardworking, endurance-minded people in Germany. So no doubt with the growth momentum in the sport, you guys will continue to develop as a country, and we should all be scared when more Hannes Nambergers start appearing on the international circuit. I wanted to finish our conversation with a broad question that I think is illuminating. What's the biggest mistake you've made in your career, and what did you learn from it, whether it's in trail running or going back to your skiing days?
In trail running, sometimes I would say if you don't eat too much, in trail running it could be the baddest mistake what you can do. You have to eat what is possible, what you get in your body. So don't save the gels in your pocket. But the biggest mistake in my life, no, I didn't make too much mistakes. I'm 32 years old. I was a professional alpine skier, and now I'm okay runner, I would say. And these 2 pro careers, that's so cool. I would say I made more right decisions than wrong ones, and that's a cool life what I had before. And I know that I can have 4 or 5 years of this more maybe. And
at least I hope. I mean, I'm about to turn 36, so if you're 32, that means I should be close to retiring if there's only 4 or 5 more good years left. But well, you also mentioned earlier that you learned that doing that Glossnacher race between Lavaredo and UTMB was a little bit of a mistake, and you learned from it. But yeah, it's good insight. And I think also, having watched a couple of your iRunFar interviews, I loved how you said that you're you like to be a well-rounded athlete, good on the climb, good on the descent, good on the flat, not necessarily great at any one of those specific disciplines, but just solid, well-rounded athlete. And it certainly seems that that's the case. And yeah, you're just getting started in your career and have so much potential. So I appreciate you coming on the podcast, Hannes. It's been fun to follow you from afar. And now it's great to get to know each other and record a conversation. I'm looking forward to sharing it.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope that my English was enough that everybody could understand me. And it was a pleasure for me to speak with you and to speak to the other guys on the phone and on the computer or headphones. Yeah. And yeah, if you want to follow me, you know where you can find me. And I hope we can have good times in the future together, maybe.
Yeah.
And on the start line on UTMB. And
I hope so. We'll see you there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.